Hi everybody, welcome to my simple beginner's guide to Hell Let Loose. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to chat for a little bit, and then what we'll do, probably about halfway through, we're actually going to go into a proper game, so I can kind of show you how things work. But what is Hell Let Loose? Well, it's a 100-player, tactical squad-based multiplayer shooter. However, I think, especially when you first start playing it, it's better to think of it more of a World War II experience. You know, it's like a battle simulator rather than anything you've probably played before. Because, again, especially when you're new, as an individual soldier, you won't really make any difference to the outcome of the battle. You're just not that powerful enough. However, with your squad working together, you could make a difference. And if your squad is working with the overall commander as well and following his or her instructions, and also you've got the other squads working together, and especially with the supporting armor, with the supporting tanks, if they're all working together, then you definitely will make a difference. And you'll die many times in most matches, and you'll only get a couple of kills if you're lucky in most of your matches to start off with as well. And you're going to get incredibly frustrated. You won't know why you've been killed, you won't know which direction you've been killed from, you'll be scratching your head, you'll curse the game, and you'll even quit out, you know, and you'll go back to playing easier games like Call of Duty or Battlefield. However, with Hell Let Loose, you will be drawn back into it, because Hell Let Loose gives you the most immersive World War II gaming experience ever, and perhaps the most immersive gaming experience ever. So what game modes do you get? So, you know, what do you play? So at the moment, sort of in July 2020, there's two game modes. You have Offensive and Warfare. They're pretty similar. In Warfare, two teams, you know, you fight over two capture points, and it's a bit like a tug of war, backwards and forwards across the map. Whereas with an offensive, one team starts at one side of the map and has to capture all of the sectors, you know, and strong points going to the other side of the map. And the way that you win is you either capture all the sectors and the enemy's HQ, or have captured more sectors, you know, have more of the map by the time the clock runs out. Now, a lot of this looks like Conquest from Battlefield, if you're familiar with that, and it's kind of similar. Except it's probably a little bit more like Frontlines from Battlefield. It tends to be quite linear, and what happens on each map, and there's several maps, there's lots of different strong points that could possibly be in play for that game. And when the match starts, the server will decide which will be the strong points for that game. And it changes from game to game. It's not the same ones all the time on the same maps. And the way that you capture sectors is you get more men into and around the strong points that you can see on the map as well. And that will give you, I think they call it capture points. And then if you get enough people in or around the strong point in that sector, you will then capture the sector. You'll capture the strong point, and then you can move on to trying to capture the next one. Or, you know, you may lose and you may well fall back. Now, what's very important to remember with Hell Let Loose is that once you've captured a strong point, that doesn't become a spawn point. Spawns, and I'll talk about this in a second as well, is spawns are controlled by friendly officers and friendly spotters and the friendly commander putting down garrisons, which are spawn points that everybody can spawn from, and putting down OPs, or observation posts, which only your squad can spawn from. So unless one of those is near, you then have a very long run to get back into the action. Now remember that's very important, because it means that if you want to break an enemy attack, if you want to reduce the momentum of an enemy attack, you haven't just got to put bodies on the strong point and have bodies in the sector, because all that will happen is enemies will keep spawning from the garrisons and the observation points that are behind or on the flanks of the strong point. You need to go out with your squad and find those garrisons and those observation points and destroy them, so that the enemy have this really long run into combat, which allows you to then have more men in the sector to capture it. And that's very important. It's almost like, you know, when you're playing Battlefield and you'll have a it's normally the sniper class or the recon class, they can put down a spawn point, can't they? It's like having that. You know, there's lots of these all around the map that can be placed in different locations. And so, you know, how you spawn in is you can either spawn in at the HQ spawns, which are on the edge of the map, which you don't really want to do unless it's near the end of the game and the enemy's near you, or it's near the beginning of the game and you're playing offensive. But what you're looking for are the garrisons and the observation points. And you click on them, and then you click on deploy, and it'll say deploying, and then you'll spawn in with the next wave. There's always waves of players, so generally when you spawn in, a few other players will spawn in with you. And as I say, these garrisons and observation points are built by friendly team members. You don't just spawn in on captured strong points. So, as I said, what's very, very important is not just getting bodies onto the strong point to enable you to capture the sector, but to go out and destroy the enemy's garrisons and the enemy's strong points. Okay, so what we'll do now is that let's fire up the game and let's look at some settings, and let's start learning a little bit more about Hell Let Loose. Hi guys, so here we are back in Hell Let Loose. So first off, let's have a look at maybe some options for controls and the like that you might want to use. So have I got anything under gameplay? Field of view, you might want more than that. Item view distance 250, nameplate view distance 250, vehicles 100. This is just so that you can see who the enemies are, because obviously in Hell Let Loose you have friendly fire and you don't want them to be you want to be shooting your friends. That's all pretty much the same. Oh, hide kick vote requests on, that can be a good thing because often you'll see loads of those. Controls, I know this is a very sensitive thing, you know, to people, but I tend to use ADS toggle off, so I have to hold right click to aim down sight, and lean toggles the same. Video, basically I have everything on high with motion blur turned off, and remember I'm playing this through GeForce Now, so you know, on an old laptop, so I can go all the way up. Key bindings, again this is a very personal thing. The only thing I really do is I bind the map to one of the mouse buttons on the side of my mouse so that I can quickly bring up the map so I know where I am. Audio, I just turn the music down and everything at full. Oh, microphone volume I turn down to 50% because for some reason the microphone can be very hot in Hell Let Loose, and a lot of the time the microphones don't work. So if we go back to key bindings, actually if we go down to, so you've got your talk, you've got V to talk and C on your unit radio. You press and hold them to talk. Often they don't work, so don't panic if that happens. Just listen out for everybody else happening that way. So what we're going to do first is just to get used to Hell Let Loose, what you can do is you can read the field manual. There's loads of information here, and tactics, and then pictures of the various maps you can look at. But the best thing to do is if you go into, once you've read all through those, if you go to Enlist, and then at the top unclick, just have the official servers, and scroll down and you'll find a server with nobody in it or one person in it, and you can join this server. And the reason why you do this is so that it can help you run around the map, getting used to the movement and the visibility. Now when you're the only person on your team, you can only spawn in as the commander. So the commander is you'd normally be the person who's in charge of everybody, you know, giving all the orders, calling in airstrikes, calling in supplies and things like that. So you know, don't do this in a real game when you're starting off, but definitely when you want to learn the game, spawn into an empty server and you can do this. Okay, so we'll spawn in as United States, and as you can see, I can only spawn as a commander. So I join as the commander, and you can see now the map's opened up. So straight away we can have a look at the map, and we're starting on the right. There's our normal spawns. There's a garrison spawn, and it would be up to us to put down more garrison spawns or OP observation spawns. This is the enemy area where they're coming from, and you can see the strong points that we would have to capture. There's the chapel. Is the one we'd be fighting over, and then you've got Hill 5, Le Grand Creek. So they're very linear on this map that's happened. So let's spawn in over here, and we click on deploy down here. And here we are. So now you can practice running around, going prone, hitting spacebar to get up, looking at the map, zooming in at the map. And it's a lot of Hell Let Loose, because these maps are based on real life locations. It is, a lot of it is about cover and using cover, and you should as you're running around, you should always be kind of behaving as though someone's looking at you right now. You know, there's someone looking at you right now, and they're going to shoot you. Practice. I mean, as the commander, I have access to some really cool stuff. That's how I build stuff. And I've got my bandages, then I've got my smoke grenade, I've got my pistol, and then as the American, I have my trusty Thompson machine gun. And I don't think you can't really spend too long doing this, just running around the maps by yourself in a server, because it's quite a unique experience being able to do this. Again, just check to see where you're going. You can look at the different strong points that you'll be fighting over. Just get a really good feel for the game, how it plays. Left click gives you a long throw, right click gives you a little toss. You can look at the delay in smoke grenades going off. Smoke grenades are very important as some of the other classes. R to reload, so you could lean that, and generally run around. And as I say, you've always got to imagine that there's a sniper looking at you. Now in Hell Let Loose, there's only ever 2 snipers on each team, which doesn't sound like much, but trust me, one sniper can get like 50 kills if they get in the right position. And what they're looking for always is sort of pinch points like this. So where we're in this field, I can't actually get through these bushes here. Oh, well, I could get through that one, sorry. I can't get through these bushes here. They're like a solid brick wall, although obviously in real life you could crash through them. So I need to get to this bit and then climb over. So if you were a sniper over there, or any infantryman, you'd be looking at the corners, because you know that's where people have to come over. Cool. So that's running around as a commander in almost like playing a single player, just enjoying the feel of the game and getting used to the movement and how it works. What we'll do next is we'll dive into actually joining a proper game and joining a squad. Okay, so we're back at the Hell Let Loose menu. So we're gonna enlist. So here you can now see all the servers. So let's make sure we've got official and community servers. What you're basically looking for is you're just looking at a server that's got some spaces and doesn't have the queues full up, and one with a low ping as well, so that you know you can have a good sessions. Here we go. So SAS UK, they've got 5 out of 6. So let's scroll down. This all sort of depends on the time of day. Okay, so we've got into this American server, so we've just got to wait to get into the game now. Okay, so now we can choose a team. Looks like the Germans are slightly underpowered, so we'll choose them. And now we've got to choose a squad. And you can see you can have a maximum of 6 people. Some of them are locked, some of them aren't. As you get more experience with the game and you learn how to play it, obviously you could join an armoured team. Recon ones tend to go pretty quick. With that one, with the dog, actually, if I join that now, I could join as a sniper. But I'm not going to. We're going to join a normal squad. So George has only got 4 people in it, so let's join them. And what I'm going to do, actually, I'm just going to turn down the audio a bit because it's probably a little bit loud at the moment. There we go. So this is our squad. We've got an officer. Oh right, no, we haven't got an officer at the moment. That's interesting. So I could join as the officer, and then I would get the submachine gun, the ordinary grenade, the smoke grenade, and I could have the ability to build outposts. I think garrisons as well. Now a squad without an officer, whether you want to join it or not is a different thing, because without an officer there's probably not going to be any OPs for you to join to spawn at. So we're actually going to come out of that one. Let's join. Let's have a look at this one. Right, so this squad has got an officer. Obviously it's not available, so that's good. So he or she should be building OPs. So you've got riflemen. So the rifleman is interesting. Depending on whether you're American or you're the Germans, we get a rifle, we get a grenade, we get the ammunition box, which we can throw down for our buddies to get more ammo, and we have our bandage. With the assault, you tend to get an automatic weapon, depends which you're playing for, and we get a grenade, a smoke grenade, and a bandage. Automatic rifleman, you tend to get something. In this case, the Germans, we get the STG-44. The medic is a role I would recommend you start off with as a beginner, because it kind of makes you feel quite useful. So as the medic, you'll get your rifle, you'll get a pistol, you get a smoke grenade, and you'll get your syringe. And so what you can do as a medic is you can move up with your squad, and then you can, when somebody gets killed and you see them, you throw down your smoke grenade, let it cover the field of view, then you go in with your syringe and you pick them up. Very similar to Battlefield, and it can feel very but you feel really part of the team when you do that, and you can really help. Now the support is another one I recommend you start off with as well. The support guy, you'll get your rifle, you'll get an ordinary grenade, you get your bandage, but then you get the supply box. And the job of the support guy is to run up, and you should try and get on comms and say to your officer, where do you want the supplies? Because he uses the supplies to build garrisons, and the engineer uses it to build other stuff as well. And they'll say, alright, can you put the supplies, and they'll tell you where, or you can just go up to a strong point and drop the supplies down, and then you get off, and then you just go and do your soldiering, which is nice and easy. Machine gunner, this is available in this squad, so you get an LMG, MG42 on the German side, and I can't remember what you get on the American side. Your job here is to stay with your squad, and as you're assaulting a position or defending a position, you go prone, you mount and you use it as a suppressive weapon. You're just firing it towards the enemies wherever they be. Anti-tank is a cool one to have as well. Again, it's available in the squad. You get your rifle and you'll get either a bazooka or a Panzerschreck, so you can fire that at enemy armor, or you can fire it at enemy strong points, or just enemies to take them out. And the engineer, you can build stuff. I would say, if you want to play as part of the squad to start off with, I would either go with medic or support. However, you know, if the automatic rifleman is available, you know, by all means go with them. What we'll do with this one is, actually, I'll go in as a support, right? So I'll click confirm, so that's who I want to be. So now we've got the map. So the blue is ours. In this particular map, we're going from south to north. So you know, when we're talking about spawn points, these are the HQ spawn points. They're obviously a long way away from the action. And here we have the 2 strong points that we're fighting over. There's what's that one called? Uva River Battery, I think that says, and the flak position. And the little blue dots are friendlies, and the little green dots, should we be able to see them wherever they've gone, are our squad mates. Now it looks like we've got a squad mate over here. Who's that? That's Beanoid. Where's everybody else? Can't see them. Now, as we look around the map, you see these little flags? So that's a garrison spawn. So we could spawn there, and what we do, we would click on that, and then we click deploy. And then these are outpost spawns. They've got enemy near them. So I can deploy on that one. I think it's going to let me deploy on that one. So let's hit deploy. Let's deploy in the action. Now have a good look when you're doing this. Where are friendlies? Now we know there's enemies there, so if we spawn here, we're going to end up with enemies behind us. Now we've got friendlies coming up in this direction. Looks like, so we've got roads here. because it's all about the cover. So we're going to have to be very careful when we spawn in that we're not going to get shot if that's where we spawn into. Right, here we go. So we're deploying now. 3 seconds left to go. So what I'm going to do is, as soon as I spawn in, I'm going to hit Z to hit the ground. I'm going to bring up the map just to see where I've spawned in. Right, here we go. I'm down here. Right, I spawned in at the garrison. Didn't let me spawn in at those. We've obviously got no friendly spawn points. Right, okay, so if you hit the spacebar, you can just get up. And then all we're going to do is start moving up towards the action to drop our supply box. Now, what you can see when we spawned in there, did you see those like those figures on the screen? And what they are the supply nodes. And when you get more into the game, a lot of it is about engineers building supply nodes, which give your team more resources to actually move. So, as you can see, it's very difficult to see what's going on. You know, we don't have a scope. All you can hear are the bullets whizzing past your heads. So you need to keep your head down, and you need to refer to the map where you are and where you need to be. So I really need to get up to this control point. My squad, I don't know where my squad mates are going, and we're going to put our supplies down there. So we need to be heading north, northeast. Right, so let's go. North, northwest, sorry. Oh, we're being suppressed, we're being shot, we've been killed. So we know we've got enemies probably on our flanks. So let's just die. If there was a medic nearby, they could come and help us, but he's 92 meters away. So one of the things to remember with Hell Let Loose is that, as I said before, you don't get to see where the enemies are shooting you from. Let's have a look. Has anybody put up a friendly? Right, so I can spawn at our OP. So that's where our squad is. So we're going to spawn there. Now they're obviously... Okay, great. So they've just... What's happened there is our outpost has just been destroyed by the enemy because the enemy were close. Let's see if they put down another one. Now, see, they've marked an enemy there. So there's obviously enemy all around here. So we've got to be very careful when we deploy in. But what I'll do is I'll put my supplies down pretty quick to see if we can. That might help somebody build a garrison. Well, my officer to build a garrison. Let's see if we can see where we can place it. Let's build this.
We're not gonna head for the battery.
Okay, so now my officer will be able to place a garrison in, and obviously if you place a garrison,
that's the tank.
It then means that the whole of our team can spawn here, not just our squad. So let's take a look at this map. So we're over here. This is where we are. So the enemy hold this strong point and this sector, and we hold this one. So the enemy are going to be coming in this direction, or flanking around and coming in this direction, or flanking around and coming in this direction. So we just need to be very careful of enemies pushing us in this direction in order to flank around. And then if we want to make it offensive, we would push up here and flank around here. And that kind of is the essence of flanking maneuvers in Hell Let Loose. It's all about right. So they've marked some people. So in order to mark where enemies might be, just press down on your center mouse button on your scroll wheel. So let's go and see if we can help my teammates out. And in essence, there we go, that's Hell Let Loose. And it's just all about practice. It's about enjoying the game and not really worrying too much about dying. Right, so we know. So we want to keep our head down now. Let's run across here. So he's pointing at somebody over there. That's a long way away. know there'll be enemies coming in this direction. Let's have a look at the map. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up this road and then probably look at cutting in somewhere up here. I really need my squad mates. Here we go, my squad mates catching up with me, so it looks like they're pushing on the other side of the road again. This is why normally you would be on comms and talking to them. Alright, they've got a supply. Right, the enemy have just called in a supply. Why is that tank there? They've called in a supply drop, which means there's probably enemies up there. Oh, yeah. So we need to get over here. Get down. And now, because they know where I am, I need to consider moving. I need to get out of the way. I need to change my position to get a flank on them. Ooh, it's too deep. Can we jump across?
I think there's an enemy tank near your position, guys, here north. You see it?
Oh, it's still too deep. Oh, we're going to drown. So, don't fall into deep water. But there we go. I think that's enough to get you started. So it's all about choosing your role in the squad, knowing what your role is, and then using the map to spawn in hopefully an observation post like that where you're going to be near to your teammates, and then working with them to then push forward or defend, and to really just enjoy the experience that is Hell Let Loose. Don't get too hung up on dying, and just enjoy it as probably the most immersive World War II experience you'll ever have. Anyway, that's enough from me. Put questions and comments down below. Right, so, we're coming under heavy fire. And yeah, I will see you all again soon.